Well, hey everybody, it's another Friday Live going out on all our platforms, and we're excited to have our probably the one guest that's been on the show the most times. He is working on his the 10th punch card on his Friday Live show, and his 11th one will be for free now, and he's going to get a bubble tea with the 11th show with some big boba. But our guest is owner and principal broker of Hawaii Pacific Property Management. He was born and raised in Honolulu and grew up in Manoa Valley. He was first restaurateur before delving into the world of real estate.
And he's earned numerous real estate designations and continues to educate himself in all areas of real estate to better serve clients and friends. As a real estate broker, specializing in investment properties, condos, military locations, 1031s, and commercial properties, please welcome our guest, principal broker owner of Hawaii Pacific Property Management, Duke Kimhan.
Hey, Duke.
How you guys doing?
Doing great. And man, property management. Talk about, like you look on those old buildings or you look at businesses and it says established, then it has a date. What would be the established date for Hawaii Pacific Property Management?
I think the inception was 2007, but
2007.
You guys knew me before that.
Yep.
I know that we started this partnership years ago when I just had this idea about switching from a full-time sales agent with doing part-time property management to doing full-time property management and no sales. So that was quite the decision. And I thought back then, I was pretty sure that I could make it happen.
Yeah.
But I wasn't 100% sure. And
Sure.
So, it's funny that you've watched this evolving of this idea that I had. And originally when we went in and all went in Keller Williams together, I started this company called Keller Williams Property Management. You guys are right there. Remember that?
Yes, we remember.
Remember, you had the license plate.
That's right. So it was actually the inception of all this and where we are today. And through Keller Williams Property Management, when Keller Williams was first opening up, we all had the idea to get involved with Keller Williams, and that's where we all started.
And then it got bigger and bigger and bigger, and you outgrew Keller Williams to this huge standalone operation that you guys have. Talk about, tell us about the org chart. Tell us about how many people are making the magic happen over there at Hawaii Pacific.
We have 14 property managers, and today was payday, and so I get a big pay sheet like this.
Yeah.
And it talks about everybody's income and what the splits were and things like that. And it's always an exciting time because I think that through success, you find the success of other people. And I am always just so excited to see what the people here can accomplish and making sure that they're on track to accomplish their goals. Because through that, Hawaii Pacific keeps growing. And right now we have a few people that are lined up to come in after them and get started. And I've already interviewed and kind of took under the wing some new people that'll be joining our team in the near future. So
we got to update that photo with all the new people.
That's a really old photo, but we need to update that for sure.
Yeah. So congratulations, because I know it was like you at your house at a desk, and now we have
Anastasia, who's now traveling the world in Europe with her military husband.
I think the first picture was me and Anna at my kitchen table.
Yeah.
And that's where we started. We had no office. And so, after we first went over the first 100 and onto our second 100, we found an office in Aiea, and it was just one office. One, I don't know what it is, maybe 550 square feet here. And then when we got 200 or 300, we got the next office, and then the next office. And then now we have 4 offices.
The whole floor, right? You guys have the whole bottom floor?
Bottom floor.
We do. And the landlord was had a vacancy in the front too, where we could punch through and be part of the front and the back. And I said, you know what? I think this is going to do it.
That'll be for the second 1,000.
We don't need any more office space. We'll figure this out.
So you have 14 property managers, and you also have a big part of your, support staff. Like, I mean, they have the admin. So let's talk a little bit about what kind of support all these property managers have to have this,
to provide that high level of service that you expect of them.
Just 10 years ago, I wouldn't even have thought that something like a virtual assistant could ever evolve into a big part of your daily business.
Yeah.
And computers and all these technology have come so far, and it's come so far in the property management business too. But, we have 14 virtual assistants in the Philippines. So, Kyle right there and Alden on your screen. Above is Claire.
She was the original. Claire was the original, the OG.
Claire was the original, right? And then heading of our maintenance team is Gina. So it started with Claire and Gina, and now, we have this giant staff over there. Enough, and there's 4 of them in a row right there. Carlo, Elaine, Joselle, Chasso, and Mark too. So Mark takes care of the G tax.
Nice.
And it's just been amazing how much work you can get done in a single day when you have an online assistant. And they can do all the loading and unloading of your marketing and all your filing of all the so-called paperwork.
Yeah.
But, in this day and age, there's no paperwork anymore. Everything's on the computer.
Everything's paperless.
File. Yep. It's paperless. And I'm shocked when I tell people, how we do business, and they walk in here and they go, there's nobody in here. And I go, it's all on the computer.
Yeah.
Our whole business is on the computer now.
Well, people are in the field. People are working remotely. I mean, talk about working remotely. They're halfway around the world in the Philippines. But we've laid the foundation for the next questions, because this is the audience that we have is realtors, and let's hit the realtors first. Why should a realtor, who's focused on sales, refer you their client that's thinking about renting their property?
Because we don't do sales.
Yes.
We are a property manager only business, and we're that way since day one.
Yeah.
When I made the commitment to forget about sales and just go property management, a very, very smart realtor sat in front of me and he says, Duke, there is so much money in the property management side, you won't need to do sales.
Yeah.
And when I thought about it, we talked about it, I thought, you're right. And if I don't do sales, then I'm not impeding on people to refer me business from the sales side.
Yeah.
So you've got the 100% return to agent guarantee.
Right. So we started that in day one, where in our contract and in our referral agreement, it says that we have a 100% return to agent guarantee, which means that the agent will get back their client.
Yeah.
So we have no intention of talking to your client about sales. A lot of the time in the past, property management agents that did sales would steal a client from you when they go to sell, because now the client is in the property management mode, and he'll just say, or she'll just say, why don't you guys just go ahead and list my property? Because then we can manage it and list it at the same time.
Yeah.
Now I don't do that. So when the time comes to sell, we return the client back to you, and I'll say, hey, Mr. Agent, thank you for the referral for property management. Your client's ready to sell now. So here you go. So there's no double dipping.
Yeah, one of my favorite quotes is from Sweet Home, Alabama. Your butt can only be on one horse at a time. So pick a horse, and the horse is either rent it or the horse is either sell it. And you've learned, right, from the mistakes of trying to do both. Let's talk about, and in fact, we want a big shout out to Sheen. She's our producer here doing all the magic on behind the scenes, moving stuff around. But Sheen, go ahead and bring up those guarantees again. And now let's talk to these property owners. Why should they be working with Duke and his team? Let's talk about the guarantees that you have there.
When you talk to your property manager on the phone, You first you got to get them to answer the phone. Okay.
Yeah.
That's my first guarantee, the communication guarantee for
Yep.
right. That's my first one. We will answer the phone or call you back. If you can get a property manager owner of the company on the phone, I'll pay you $5 on the first call. You can call me on my phone, even when I'm talking right now with you guys, and I'll text you back and I'll say, sorry, I'm on a radio show, but I'll call you back as soon as I'm done. This is a big deal to me. Communication guarantee is the number one guarantee that Hawaii Pacific will do. My people call you back. It's a big deal. Okay.
Yeah,
it's not just you. It's not just you, Duke. Like, I know that we've been to some of your team meetings, and like that is a big part of, you know, like you're reminding all of the property managers that they need to follow your example.
Yeah, Duke brings out this big wet noodle and he starts whacking people with a wet noodle who don't pick up their phone or return the calls. You know,
let me tell you,
you
got to live it, and you got to lead by living it. So, you know, my property managers can always get in touch with me too. Yeah. And if you have a question or you have a question, they want a three-way call in, they call me all the time. I probably do a three-way call at least 1 to 10 times a day.
Yeah.
So it's a big deal.
The rest of our industry, they guarantee to return your call before the end of the year. And the only time that works real well is like New Year's right before the end of the year.
I think also with this communication guarantee that Duke has role modeled so well for his team.
Yeah.
It's a direct reflection on all of those 5-star reviews. And, you know, we see them time and time again. Constantly people are giving these 5-star Google.
Yeah, don't take our word for it. Check it out.
Yeah. I mean, that communication is so important, and it's always mentioned.
Talk about
you hear from owners when we go out to owner meets. Yeah. And I say, what company did you come over from? And then they'll tell me, and I'll say, why did you come over?
Why are you switching?
And, you know, why did you switch? And they'll say, you know, I've been trying to call them for a week and I couldn't get in touch with anybody, and no one's called me back. When you have a property manager that you are paying, they need to take your call.
Get up and get that call back. Yeah. Not return the call because they're getting fired, but return the call to maintain the relationship. Let's talk about what's the next 2 guarantees? Which one you want to talk about next?
So the big one is a rent guarantee, and people really don't understand it. They say, I don't understand how you do the rent guarantee. Well, it's real simple. I will set a low rent that we will ask for your property at some point if we have to. If we have to get down to that low rent amount, because it's the low comp in your neighborhood, it's not the low comp for your house. Okay. Yeah. If we have to go down there and advertise it for 30 days and we can't get anybody to rent it, we'll pay you that amount of money.
Yeah.
Okay. I am so sure about my ability to gauge your comps in your neighborhood. Most of the time we start at the high comps. I would say 99.9% of the time. And then if we ever have to come down and we don't get an offer for your house, we lower it by 100, until we get to the point where we can rent your property. But rarely, and I say rarely, it's probably only happened one time in 14 years that we had to use the rent guarantee amount.
Well, tell the people why. You guys aren't just like, oh yeah, you know, go on the line, look at the house and do it. You guys talk about what you do to help them prepare to get a good renter.
Well, in order to get a good renter, you have to do marketing. Marketing is free with Hawaii Pacific. So we do pass on 3 charges of $10 on to you after we rent your house. Okay, Trulia, Zillow, and HRN do charge us to load properties on their website. Nobody else does, right? So we go to 32 websites, we load your property, advertise your business, and we get it out there. Because in today's market, you can't just put it in the newspaper. In fact, we don't even put it in the newspaper. Yeah, we put it online.
You're putting it where the tenants are looking.
That's right.
Yeah.
And then the last guarantee is the biggest one. It's the eviction guarantee. And it states that if we put a tenant in after we approve all the background checks and we get your tenant to move in and we have to evict them because of non-payment of rent, Hawaii Pacific will pay for the eviction costs of the attorney to evict them. Yeah. Now, the eviction costs run anywhere from $3,000 to $6,000 to get a tenant out in today's market. Okay, so just know that Hawaii Pacific guarantees their tenants. But if the owner tells me that they want to put their son daughter, relative in there, and they don't do background checks, then the eviction guarantee does not work.
Does not apply, yeah.
So with this eviction guarantee that you guys have offered, how many times have you actually had to utilize it?
And a couple of times.
Yeah.
We're using it right now. We're trying to evict the tenant out that passed our guarantees and warranties and background checks and everything. They had 705 credit. They had money in the bank. They had a really good job with 2.5 times the income, and now they're not paying rent. So we are in the eviction process today after doing mediation with them, and they couldn't come up with the 4 months of back rent that they owe.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I think it's important to know too is that talk about like it's very specific, the steps, because if you screw up one of the steps, you got to start all over, right?
It is. And it goes pretty quickly though, and we don't hold that against the owners, but you know, our job is to put a quality tenant in there, not a tenant, a quality tenant.
Yeah.
So just know that we get commanding officer info, contact, all that stuff for the military, and we get bank account copies, and we know how much money they have in savings and all that, because it's all important. All that stuff's important.
And you guys do like the background checks, and you're calling previous landlords. So
the last 2 landlords, correct.
Yeah.
So you really go deep on these tenants. So that is surprising that, you know, this person, maybe there is some kind of weird thing that happens.
Life happens, right?
Yeah.
It does. And it's really too bad. But, you know, we do have honest people who call us and say, hey, you know, this month I really don't have the rent. My mother got sick and I had to do this, or my child is sick and I don't have the money to pay the rent. So in those situations, we do work with the tenants to try and get them called. It's not our job is to kick everybody out.
But I think you communicate rapidly. If it's not a workable situation, like you said, you even tried mediation with that person, then you go through it. We've had clients come to us, they're selling their investment property. Like, why are you selling? Oh, the tenant stopped paying rent. Oh, when did they stop paying rent? Oh, 1985. I'm like, what? No, I mean, I'm exaggerating, but the average, we hear people, it's like months and months and months. It's not like, 30 days ago. It's like months. I would say a minimum 6 months, and they're finally coming to us having not had rent.
And, you know, I hear this all the time where an owner will tell us, hey, that's my investment property. I'm supposed to be making money on it. Yeah. And so I say, well, why aren't you making money on it? And they're like, we don't have a tenant that pays rent on time. That goes back to your property manager. Okay. Yeah. You can't get a property manager to find a tenant that right now, I would say of 100 tenants that apply, 10% of those people will not meet our 650 or above credit score, 2.5 times the income, or have money in the bank. So, and if you look at the market of people that are looking for rentals today, 10% of the market for us is going to have a tough time. And we have to send denial letters in those situations.
Yeah.
So how many rentals do you currently have available? If there's a tenant out there looking, to relocate and be managed by a company. Now. Yeah.
Go to www.hipacificpm.com and then the first tab in is available rentals. So if you look on that, just Thursday of last week, today is Monday. So Thursday of last week, we had 42. So today we have 29 vacants. So
nice too. You got pictures and video.
Just over the weekend, we rented 12 properties.
Wow.
So it's extremely busy right now because right now is the military move in and move out for the personnel as they shift them around off island.
Yeah. So make sure that you're checking frequently because it sounds like people are moving out and there's new rentals that are becoming available.
Yep.
And then
because the first week of August is when school starts. Once school starts, the military stops shifting around all their personnel for just a little bit.
The other thing too, I want to notate it for rent by owners out there because we know they're watching this and they'll go on your video blog. How many videos you got on your video blog on your website? Maybe 50 more, 100,
200 or 300.
Oh wow, a lot of information there. But I will tell you, it's kind of like going on YouTube to get a 4-year degree. I mean, it's helpful information, but is it going to make you an effective for rent by owner? Here's what I would say. The for rent by owners are the worst renters, property managers, because let's say a tenant's in there for 2 years. They really haven't been doing property management at your guys' level, and they certainly haven't been marketing the property. And last time was 2 years ago. And then they got to learn everything again.
You know,
one
of the things that you would struggle with as a self property manager,
yeah,
if you're not on the island, let's just put that one out there, because most people move off.
Required by law.
You cannot have a walkthrough done. You cannot visit your property. You cannot see the deterioration of your paint outside, or maybe check on a leaky roof or a squeaky closet door or things like that. How do you get all that done? You have to get somebody to go in there and assess some of the issues. If you're a worthwhile handyman, that's great. But if you're living off island, you need a property manager that's going to take care of your place. We do 2 walkthroughs a year, minimum. Nice. If you have a pet in there, we'll go through 3 times.
Nice. And it's required to have an on-island representative, and most people have their cousin who was the one that you couldn't even get to come pick you up if you had a flat tire, let alone go check on your $800,000 property. So that's a disaster waiting to happen. So I think 1 month, 2 months vacancy, 1 eviction, you're in the hole. You might as well have just called Duke and his team from day one. And by the way, I can speak from personal experience. You guys manage my 2 rental properties, and I know nothing about them except the rent shows up in my owner's portal and into my checking account, and that's all I need to know.
Yeah, and you know, this month, if you know your GE tax months, this is the month that we have to pay the GE tax by the 20th of the month. So most of the people fall into the 2 times a year payment, and this is going to be one of their payments. Gotcha. General excise tax for the state of Hawaii is 4.5% of your rent. So it's a big deal, and we're getting reminders in the mail, and owners are getting a little nervous because they're calling today saying, "Hey, are we going to get our G tax paid on time?" Yes, you will.
Yeah.
Okay. We do offer that service.
That's good that you do, because those guys are brutal down there, man. You get like a $5 GET tax. Next thing you know, you get $1,000 fines and penalties for $5.
The penalty is big. The penalty is
crazy
bigger
down there.
than normal. Correct.
Yeah. See, I call it the mafia division of the city and county of. But well, okay. So if people want to, what's the website and the phone number they should call? Because I know people are like, give me the phone number.
There it is. There's the banner with the phone number, the email, website.
PacificPM.com. PM for property management.
Yep.
Awesome. All right. And thanks so much, Duke. And of course, if you guys listen on AM 830 KHVH every Saturday at 10 a.m., our first guest or first vendor who comes on the show at the beginning of most of the shows, probably 98% of the shows, is Duke giving his property management tip of the week. All right. Thanks,
sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Duke.
Thanks, Duke. Happy Aloha Friday.
Happy Aloha Friday.